Oh, hey, there we go. I'm good now.
Good morning, Epic Church. Thanks for joining us. Just want to clue you in to a few things going on around here. We've been talking about this for a few weeks now. Women, we've got some things coming up for you. Our morning women's group on Thursday mornings started this past week, and I hope they had a great time together. You can still get in on that. Check out our app for more information. Our Thursday night women's group is starting on February 16th. We're going to be meeting right here at Epic Church from 6:30 to 8. Would love to have you join us. Also, the Festival of Tables is coming up still. I have tickets now, so come see me, get the tickets. If you've RSVP'd online, come see me to get the tickets so you can get that taken care of before the morning of. It's a great event. Tickets are $15. That includes an awesome meal, a speaker, just a great time with some great, awesome tables that are decorated. And I think we got some pictures to show you a couple things of what that looks like. It really is a fun event. It benefits the Portland Ministerial Association Compassion Fund, and that helps local families with rent, utilities, gas, other things like that. So it is an awesome event. Men, I know you had an awesome time probably this last Wednesday night at your chili cook-off. So keep coming, guys. Wednesday night, 6:30 to 8. I know they're starting a new study this week, so join them for that. And one more thing, let's take up our joy offering. Woohoo! We love how you are so generous and give to the mission of Epic Church as we continue to reach our community. Thank you so much for giving. As always, there are boxes in the back that you can drop your offering, give on our app, or give online. Thank you so much. Have a great morning. Bye.
What's up, guys? Mic check. Terry, where you at? Come up here with me. A couple things I got left out of the announcements real quick. I know, super professional. But I just wanted to mention, not this Sunday, but next Sunday for Explode. Oh, echoing. Next Sunday, we're going to have a Super Bowl party. So bring your kids at 6 o'clock like usual, but we're going to stay and watch the entire Super Bowl, so we'll pick them up when it's over. However, if you need to pick them up before it's over, that's totally okay. Just come and get them whenever you need to come and get them, okay? That was the only thing that I needed to add, and Terry's got something for men's group.
And Melanie did mention this in the announcements, but I just want to invite everyone, all the men, to come on Wednesday night. We are starting a new series. It's a 6-week series. So I just want to personally invite you, come hang out with us, meet some new guys, and have fellowship. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
All right, lots of good stuff going on this morning. How are you guys all doing? Good. I heard a couple woos. Somebody's got coffee. Woo! Yay! I'm just glad that you guys are here. Welcome if this is your first time or if this is your 50th time. Glad that you guys are here this morning. We're going to worship together, and we're going to start our worship this morning just by standing up if you are able and just saying hi to somebody around you. Maybe find somebody new. Give them a high five. Give them a hug. Give a handshake. Just welcome someone to Epic. we know is doubt and fear. There is only one foundation. We believe, we believe. In this broken generation, when all is dark, you help us see. There is only one salvation. We believe, we believe, we believe in God the Father. We believe in Jesus Christ. We believe in the Holy Spirit, and He's given us new life. We believe in the crucifixion. We believe that He's conquered death. We believe in the resurrection, and He's coming back again. So let our faith be more than anthem, greater than the songs we sing. And in our weakness and temptations, we believe, we believe, in God the Father. We believe in Jesus Christ. We believe in the Holy Spirit, and He's given us new life. We believe in the crucifixion. We believe that He's conquered death. We believe in the resurrection, and He's coming back again. Let the lost be found, let the dead be raised, here and now, with love in faith, let the church live now. Our God will save. We believe, and the gates of hell will not prevail, and the power of God is yours to fail, and we know your love will never fail. We believe, we believe in God the Father. We believe in Jesus Christ. We believe in the Holy Spirit, and He's given us new love. We believe in the crucifixion. We believe that He's conquered death. We believe in the resurrection, and He's coming back. He's coming back again. He's coming back again. Sometimes it's just good to just go through and remember why it is that we're here. What are the things that we believe? What are the things that bring us together? Not only as a group of people who have common shared values, but also as a church who really is on mission and who wants to go somewhere and wants to do something and wants to not just come here, check our box, and go into our week, but we want to go here and allow God to kind of flip things upside down or maybe show us a new angle on things. And one of those parts of being able to go out into our week and do that is just being able to sit and to reflect and to worship together. And sometimes we do that, we come together. I have like a set song order that I look at every week and look at what the topic is, who's going to be speaking, what are they going to be speaking on, what is God going to put on their hearts. But a lot of times it's easy to get caught up in that repeat, cycle through, do the same thing, come here, say hi to this person, sit here, and do this. And sometimes we have to break out of that. And whether sometimes that is something as simple as like sitting in a different place, which might blow some people's minds. But sometimes it's that simple because that can change your perspective on things. But other times it's just like acknowledging that maybe we're on autopilot and maybe we're not authentically communicating with God. And there could be lots of reasons for that. It could be you're tired. It could be you're hurt. It could be, or angry, but just being able to come to God and to be able to communicate with him. And that is why we worship. That is why we worship together. So as we just continue that worshiping, just allow him to impact your heart. Maybe allow him to extend a hand of reconciliation. Maybe you and God haven't been on good terms. Or maybe there's something that you're really struggling with. But just allow yourself to be with him and just quiet your heart and just worship. I'm caught up in your presence. I just want to sit here at your feet. I'm caught up in this holy moment. I never want to leave. Oh, I'm not here for blessings. Jesus, you don't owe me anything, but more than anything that you can do, I just want you. And I'm sorry when I've just gone through the motions. I'm sorry when I just sang another song. Take me back to where we started. I open up my heart to you. And I'm sorry when I've come with my agenda. I'm sorry when I forgot that you're enough. Take me back to where we started. I open up my heart to you. I'm caught up in your presence. I just want to sit here at your feet. I'm caught up in this holy moment. I never want to leave. Oh, I'm not here for blessings. Jesus, you don't owe me anything, but more than anything that you can do, I just want you. I'm sorry when I've just gone through the motions. I'm sorry I forgot. Take me back to where we started. I've opened up my heart to you. And I'm sorry when I've come with my agenda. I'm sorry when I forgot that you're enough. Take me back to where we started. I open up my heart to you. I'm caught up in your presence. I just want to sit here at your feet. I'm caught up in this holy moment. thank you for bringing us here in this place at this time with these people. Prepare us for what you've laid on Lee's heart this morning, God. Thank you. In your precious name we pray. Amen.
Well, good morning, everybody. So I realize that we don't normally speak from up here. For some reason, we always talk from down here. I'm not totally sure why. Maybe it's because we're like, oh, I'm not better than you. I'm one of you. Maybe that I don't want to talk down to you. Maybe that's what it is. But then I realized these 3 inches, I'm not talking down to anybody. So, and also I have this wonderful demonstration, this mysterious demonstration that I think if I did it on the floor, nobody would actually see it. So we're going to do it up here. And I kind of thought, doesn't this look like the Willy Wonka everlasting gobstopper machine with a, that thing? You guys remember that? It gives me those kinds of vibes. So I think I kind of drew the short straw in the sermon series this week. First off, hey, good morning, everybody. My name is Lee Schaefer. I'm the youth pastor here, which explains a lot, and it's probably going to explain a whole lot of what's going to happen today. But we were giving out this sermon series, and we're talking about the rhythms of a disciple. And this is simply a way to live more like Christ. It's the way that God wants us to live. That's the series that we're in. And when we were dividing it up, we were like, okay, Melanie, you talk about yielding to God's will. And, that's a tough one, but really we all kind of want that anyway, right? And let's see, we also need to talk about engaging and multiplying and practicing. And Lee, you can talk about the rhythm of commitment. Bum, bum, bum. Oh, my goodness. So as I dove into learning about commitment, I kind of discovered that this rhythm involves all the other ones combined. And so today's message is going to be super long, but I'm just kidding. Kind of. But I figured what better time to talk about commitment than after the first month of the new year, after all of these resolutions we made kind of start to slip, and we're like, maybe I don't need to work out every day, right? So let's talk about commitment. And because we're talking about commitment today, I'm a little worried that today's message is going to be a little bit like watching your friend get a talking to by their parents, kind of like one of those, oh my gosh, this is so terribly awkward, I want to go home. Are they yelling at me too? I didn't do anything. You guys know what that's like to be at a friend's house? Isn't that terrible? Just me? Oh, it happened to me a lot, I guess. So if you guys are new with us today, and this is your first time here, I'm so glad that you're here. Sit back and enjoy the show as your friend gets yelled at by their dad. No, I'm kidding. No, but actually, here at Epic, you guys are phenomenal. When I was writing this, I kind of felt like, wow, this is going to be a message that is just really preaching to the choir. It really will be. Because you guys are already committed. You're committed to your church body. You're committed to the community. You're committed to one another. I'm so proud to be a part of this body of believers. I really feel like that we are God's hands and feet here at Epic. And it's really preaching to the choir, especially if you decided to show up today to deepen your faith, because clearly you're already kind of committed. So I hope that today's message doesn't really sound like some sort of dad talk, but instead that we can just listen to this together and understand that even if we're already doing a great job at this, maybe we can grow just a little bit more, do just a little bit more, go a little bit further. Kind of like the end of Schindler's List, where he's like, this car could have bought 10 more people. This pin could have bought 2, maybe 1 more person. You guys know this movie? If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking. No? Oh, go watch Schindler's List. But that's really sad, pretty sad for so early in the message. So it's in black and white, so let's keep it in color, and let's start with an analogy. So a few years back, my oldest son, Eli, he worked really hard, and he bought himself a really cool virtual reality video game device called an Oculus Quest. Now, this device is pretty new. It's pretty right now. It's pretty awesome. You put it right on your face, and it puts you into another world. Now, because Eli spent his own money on it and he worked really hard to get it, I didn't really get too many opportunities to try it out, except for when I put my credit card information in to buy games, which was surprisingly easy to do, actually. It was pretty incredible. But from what I saw, just by putting my credit card information in, I was like, oh my gosh, this is incredible. Holy cow, Eli, this is amazing. I love this. And I thought it was so cool that my wife actually got me one for my birthday. Best wife ever. I get points when I say stuff like that. Especially on stage. But it's just this crazy, cool, awesome thing that it puts you into another world. It puts you into the video game. You watch these 360 videos that you're like, oh my word, and you can walk around in them. And you can travel to places like Angel Falls, and you can follow hikers that are going up Mount Everest. It's just crazy cool. When you take it off, you feel like you were just there, like you just got back from some sort of trip. It puts you inside of your favorite cartoon, and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm inside SpongeBob's house. This is nuts. It's just really crazy cool. And I was talking to Dwayne about it, and he was polite, and he obliged my enthusiasm, but without saying so, he didn't really believe me. He was like, there's no way it's as cool as you're making it out to be, until I showed him. He put it on, and he was like, oh my word, your house, it's amazing. And I was so excited to show him all these things. I was like, I know, click on the menu bar down at the bottom. And he's like, your house, I could stay here all day. This is incredible. And I was like, I know, it's really cool. Click on the menu bar down at the bottom. And he's like, this window of your house, it's amazing. I was like, I know, click on the menu bar down at the bottom. It was just so cool. My brother did the same thing. He's this computer guy that has all the computer stuff. He spent lots of money on his computer, and he's like, I just don't see how it's going to be better than what I already have. I was like, well, it's just different. It's just different, okay? And I was like, I'll tell you what, I'll make you a deal. I will buy you one, and if you don't like it, you just give it back. If you do like it, you buy it. He's like, okay, fine. So we get it all set up for him, and then I get a phone call like 4 days later. So how much do I owe you? It's like, I know, it's just so cool. So I've got this friend, Ryan, and I'm talking about commitment today, and Ryan plays worship up here, and he's not here today, so weird. But Ryan also has an Oculus, and we bond over it, and we're like, have you seen this? Oh my gosh, did you try that? And then we've got this group of friends that every time we start talking to them, it's about whatever, but then the conversation moves towards the Oculus. And we're like, you guys, you gotta get one. We could all play together. You gotta get one. And when we're done talking about it, they're like, we gotta get one. And we get them so stoked and excited about it. It's just such a very fun, cool thing. But all this excitement about the Oculus over the last year of my life is brought to my mind more than a couple times. Why is it so easy to talk to people about the Oculus, but it's so difficult to talk to people about God? I feel guilty that I can energetically talk to people about the Oculus, this cool man-made invention, and I'm so confident that they will love it, that if they don't like it, I'm like, well, there's something wrong with you then, right? It's your loss. But when it comes to talking about God, we sometimes tiptoe around the whole thing. I don't want to tell them too much too soon, right? So why is it easy to promote the Oculus, but hard to promote a relationship with God? I thought about this, and I was feeling guiltier and guiltier, and then I had this realization. First off, things that don't matter that much, they're easy to talk about. And things that have massive significance are very nerve-wracking to bring up. Secondly, and more to the point, the Oculus is amazing, right out of the box. Even the loading screen looks amazing. The Oculus is right now, immediate gratification. And you might be wondering, what does this have to do with commitment? I thought we were talking about commitment. Well, here's the point. When I tell people about God, the awesomeness is not always immediate. Sometimes, but most of the time, it takes longer than we would like it to. It takes years even for the awesomeness of God to begin to show up in your life. And even then, it doesn't look like what you thought it would. Depending on where you find God in your life, the beginning of his awesomeness manifests itself through struggles, through hardship, through divorce, through death, through things that our culture would say are terrible. And yet he uses these incredibly hard moments to begin showing his awesomeness. it's very easy to quit before we see the miracle. It takes a certain level of commitment to God to begin to see his awesomeness. A lot of the time, it's not until years later that we're able to look back and see, wow, in my lowest moment, God was there. In that time where I thought I was alone, God was actually creating in me something I would need today. Some of us grew up knowing God, and so there was no awesome aha moment of finding him because we always just knew him. And so it's not until years later where we get to look back and see what an awesome gift that was. Some of us found God in times of struggle, and we had to work our way out of hardship, begging that if God got us out of this mess, we would follow him. But the process seemed to take so long that by the time we got through it, we thought, where were you in that, God? I begged you for help, and you did nothing. In fact, sometimes it can take so long that we think, never mind, God, I guess I got it on my own. The Oculus is easy to talk about because it's right now. God is hard to share with friends because it takes time to see his work. But you know, the Oculus will eventually wear out. It'll eventually run down. It'll get used up. It'll be obsolete. It'll get boring after the 900th time of playing it. But God is the other way around. At first, it seems like, why are you letting me struggle like this, Lord? Until the 900th time. And then you see it. That was God's amazing work. And in the moment, it wasn't, wow, look how awesome God is. No, it was more like, are you serious, God? If this is what following you looks like, then I don't want it. It takes commitment to get to see the awesomeness of God. And if you quit too soon, you won't get to see it. The Oculus is like, hey, you don't have to take my word for it. Just try it. God is more like, keep trying. Keep going, keep believing, keep asking, keep persevering, keep trusting. I promise it'll be worth it. The Oculus is like, wow, have you seen this? And God is more like, blessed are those who believe but have not seen. As I've aged, I've learned that the things that are worthwhile, the things that really pay off, they take a long time to come to fruition. Things that come quickly and easily, or you get on a whim, they tend not to last very long. The Oculus is amazing at first, but it'll eventually get old. It'll eventually fade away. But with God, we're building up to this amazing crescendo. Nothing is fading away or being used up. Instead, it's being made new. The only thing that's fading away are the things of this world. Following God starts off slow, and it builds to this momentous occasion. As you continue to commit to him, you see more and more. The more you follow God, the more he reveals, the more he shows, the more he speaks to you, the more you experience his love and his presence. The Oculus is right now, but God takes time. Our relationship with God leads into eternity, which is outside of time itself. Something like that requires a certain level of commitment to appreciate. The Oculus is right now, but God was, he is, and he is to come. Today we're talking about being committed. There are lots of things in this world that we can be committed to, and sometimes we commit to all these other things before we commit to God. We commit to our job, we commit to being married, we commit to being a dad or a mom, we commit to sports, we commit to leading some sort of club, we commit to bringing a snack to whatever our kids are doing. We can commit ourselves silly if we're not careful. And these are all great things to commit to. And as Christians, we should be the example of what it looks like to commit to something. We should stand out as the most committed, the most dedicated, the hardest worker. But we have to make sure that we keep our priority of commitment in order. See, our God is a God of firsts. In biblical times, the firstborn was very important. God always wanted the first of our crops as an offering. He wanted the first and the best set aside for himself. He wants the first 10% of your income, not whatever's left over. Proverbs 3:9-10 says, honor the Lord with your wealth, with the first fruits of all your crops. Then your barns will be filled to overflowing, and your vats will brim over with new wine. Matthew 6:33 says, but seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. Our God is a God of firsts, But for some reason, when it comes to our commitment of time, if we're honest, he gets our leftovers. We all too often easily commit to things of this earth, but we find it difficult to commit to the things that have eternal significance. And that's because the things of this earth are just right now and in your face. See, when we commit to God first, then God tells us, yes, thank you. Now I need you to go be a substitute teacher. Now I need you to go and coach that sports team. Now I need you to be a good husband. Now I need you to be the best father. Now I need you to commit to leading a women's group. Now I need you to commit your time, money, and talents to me through these different avenues. But when we try to commit to those things without committing to God first, we may not find time to commit to God at all. Proverbs 3:6 in the New Living Translation says, seek his will in all you do, and he will show you which path to take. The Living Bible says it this way, in everything you do, put God first, and he will direct you and crown your efforts with success. I know it's not as majestic as you thought it was going to be. See, it's kind of like this here. If you were to fill your life with the things of this earth, if you were to fill your time with all the stuff that you want to do or you need to do, by the end of the day, we already know how this goes. By the end of the day, there's really no time for anything else. Your day is full, your life is full. There's no time for anything extra. But time isn't stagnant. Time doesn't stand still. No, time is always moving. And we kind of always tell ourselves, you know what, whatever we didn't get to today, we'll get to it tomorrow. But for some reason, tomorrow rarely comes the way that we think it will. And if you've only filled your life with things of this world, when your time is up, you're left with nothing. However, if you choose to fill your life with God, if you commit to God first, he does not prevent you from having all that other stuff. In fact, he says your barns will be overflowing. It'll be brimming over. All this will be added to you and more. You get all that other stuff too. But even though you chose to commit to God first, time doesn't stand still for us. Time still keeps moving. Time slips through our fingers and it progresses on as it does for anybody. But the difference is, at the end of your time, you're left with something of eternal significance. You're left with your relationship with God, which matters more than anything else. It often seems like the things that maybe we should commit to, like coming to church, reading our Bible, living in community with other believers, those types of things, they often come in as a second option. We say things like, yeah, let me see what we got coming up. I'll have to check my calendar for that one. AKA, yeah, I'll do that if a better option doesn't come along in the meantime. Hey, are you coming to men's group? Where iron sharpens iron and men make lifelong friends that push them to be better dads, husbands, and followers of Christ? Oh, I would love to, but let me see what I got going on first. Let me check with my wife, make sure she wants me to be a better husband and father. Hey, are you coming to youth group where we learn how to live a life that is pleasing to God and defeat the things of this world that break into our minds and cause us to believe the lies of Satan? Oh, I can't. I have to work. I have practice. I got to study. I'm shoe shopping. Hey, do you want to come to women's group where we encourage one another to keep going, to show love through each other's hardships, and we spur each other on to be women of God in this tumultuous world that will stop at nothing to tear us down? I don't know. I don't like social situations where I don't know people. We make these excuses and we choose other things. Then we come to a point in our life when things come crashing down around us and we feel all alone in our struggles. And we say, God, where are you? Why am I alone in this? Why aren't you helping me? And he says, I was trying to prepare you for this day. I inspired others to hold youth group and teach about how to handle this exact situation. I inspired others to hold women's group where you would have made friends to walk you through this. I inspired men's group where they have the tools to fix this exact problem, but you were too busy for me to pour into you. Or we look to God and we say, God, why can't I hear your voice? Why can't I hear you in my life? And he says, I wrote most of it down for you. You know that moment where Jesus is standing with Pilate and the crowd is shouting, crucify him, crucify him. And Pilate says, I'll give you a choice between Barabbas or Jesus. And the crowd starts saying, Barabbas, Barabbas. And we sit in our comfy chairs and we read this and we think, oh my gosh, I would never choose Barabbas. Are they crazy? I would choose Jesus. I would always choose Jesus. And yet, in a way, don't we choose Barabbas quite often? We choose Barabbas every time we put something else before Jesus. Now, this might seem like an extreme way of looking at things, but that's only if you actually think the things of this world matter more than a relationship with God. We've placed things of importance in this world above the things that God says are important. And then we wonder why we don't feel his presence in our lives. Hebrews 10:24-25 says, and let us consider how we may spur one another on toward love and good deeds, not giving up meeting together, as some are in the habit of doing, but encouraging one another all the more as you see the day approaching. Now, don't misunderstand me. I am not against volleyball practice or having a job that you just can't take the day off. Remember, I said we should be the most committed, the most dedicated. We should be an example of what discipline looks like. Colossians 3:23 says, whatever you do, work at it with all your heart as working for the Lord, not for human masters. However, if we can't make it to that spirit-filled event where we already know God is, where two or more are gathered in his name, then we need to make sure that we are committed to having our spirit filled in another way. That was my phone. The world is coming at you in every direction, literally, all day long, on the radio, through your friends, in that new corporate policy, through social media, through every avenue possible. From the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep, you are bombarded with the world's agenda. And so we've got to commit to filling our hearts with as much God as we can possibly fit. Colossians 3, verse 1 tells us to set our hearts on things above. Verse 5 says to put to death the things of our earthly nature. In 16, it says to let the message of Christ dwell in us richly. We say, I struggle to hear God's voice and find his will for my life, but then we don't look where we know he already is. See, at first, a commitment starts off as a discipline. It starts off as something that we have to force ourselves to do. But after a while, if we do it long enough, if we allow it to become a rhythm in our lives, then that discipline turns into a commitment. And then we don't want to miss it. In fact, if we do miss it, we feel off. Our whole day is weird feeling because we miss that thing that we always do. But you know, there's more to commitment than just showing up. We can't show up to church every Sunday and think, there, I'm committed to God. Are you happy now? I remember hearing one time that marriage is 50-50. And that made sense to me. I was like, yeah, I got to give a little, she's got to give a little, yeah. And then I heard, no, marriage is 100-100. And I was like, yeah, that makes more sense. I have to give my all, she has to give her all. That sounds like a good relationship, 100-100. And it's true, if you want a good marriage, you have to give your all. You have to do more than just show up. You actually have to give to the marriage. The same is true with your relationship with your kids. Being present in their life is great, but are you actually contributing to their life? Are you making it better, or are you just around? The same is true with God. Yeah, maybe you come every time there's a church thing, but are you giving your all? Are you contributing to the group? Are you being honest and open and willing? Are you sharing your experiences? Are you giving of yourself to make the event better, or are you just there taking up a seat? See, for a while, taking up a seat is the right place to be. If you're empty or low or lost or maybe just brand new, then just being there is a great first step. But even that requires you to be open, honest, willing to listen, willing to grow, willing to try, willing to share. You guys ever try to give your kids a bite of food that they've never had before, and it looks a little iffy, but you know they're going to like it? You're like, come on, try it. And they're like, And then after a while, you're like, I'm not asking anymore, I'm telling you. Take a bite, try it. And they take like the most pathetic, oh my gosh, because they already decided in their head that they weren't going to like it. You ever experienced this? It's kind of like that. If you go thinking that you're going to hate it, and you only take the tiniest little bite, then you don't actually know what it's like. Now, in baseball, if a kid goes out there and he kind of just like willy-nilly swinging his bat or just like sticks it out there, from the stands we yell a couple different things. We say, you got to swing like you mean it. And when a good pitch comes, but they couldn't decide if they were going to swing or not, but they crossed the plate, we say something like, you got to commit to it. You got to commit to it. What do we mean when we say that? You got to commit to it. Well, we mean when you swing, you got to hit it like something's going to happen. The same is true with our relationship. You can't just come to church and say, well, I'm here. You got to show up like something's going to happen. You got to be ready for the Spirit to move. You got to give 100%. You got to take a decent bite. Psalms 119:10 says, I seek you with all my heart. It doesn't say, I reluctantly showed up one night. But sometimes we swing like we mean it. We commit to the pitch, but we still miss it. And that can put a bad taste in our mouths. But what do we say in sports when that happens? We say, hang in there, you'll get them next time. When we show up and we don't get anything out of it, even though we put in 100, that doesn't mean we should quit. Sometimes at youth group, we have a game that just doesn't work, man. It's a total fail. Like this game we played, Bucket of Ducks. Should have called it Bucket of Never Gonna Play That Again. But we don't quit coming just because one time it didn't work out, one time it wasn't that much fun. It's kind of like your grade point average, your GPA. It's not based on one test. It's based on all of them. You keep coming. Keep giving 100%. Keep showing up like something's going to happen. And what we find is that over time, it adds up to something big. We had this night at youth group where the boys split from the girls and we answered some sensitive questions. We had been talking about not holding back for a while and talking about how a problem shared is a problem cut in half and just sharing our struggles with one another and really kind of building this community. And it's hard to do, but it's so worth it. But on this night, someone on the girls' side went for it. Someone dove in, they became vulnerable, they gave 100%, and it spurred on this chain reaction where girl after girl shared information that they had never shared before. Youth group was over. This was a 10-minute section of questions, and they went on for an extra 45 minutes. Tears flowed, worries, cares, problems, fears came out of these girls that no one had ever heard them say before. And some of them left that night thinking that this was the best night of youth group they'd been to in the past year. Why was it the best in the past year? Because they gave 100%, all of them. In a group setting, if you put in 100%, but no one else does, then you don't get your money's worth. If you're on a sports team and you give 100%, but the rest of your team doesn't, you still lose. In your marriage, if you give 100%, but your spouse never does, that's a struggling relationship. We are stronger, braver, smarter, and better when we are committed to one another, which means we show up and we commit to it like something's going to happen. We have to give of ourselves like Jesus did. Sometimes we don't want to show up, and I get that. Even Jesus didn't want to show up on the day of the cross, but thank God he did. Sometimes the days that we don't want to show up are the days that we need to show up the most. Okay. We need to be committed to our relationship with God. We get it, Lee. You've said it over and over again. Maybe it would help to know why committing to other things is easier than committing to God. So let's look at the things that make sports or band or video games or watching the Detroit Lions easier to commit to. When we begin a sport, or a video game, or band, or whatever, we have to learn something new. We have to put ourselves out there. We might get yelled at. We might embarrass ourselves. We'll probably do something wrong, and we have to practice. We have to get it wrong in order to get it right. We have to work out. We have to exercise until our muscles burn and they become uncomfortable. But we do it, and we love it even. It's fun. Why is it fun? It's still hard. It still takes a long time to get good at it. It takes calloused fingers, sore muscles. It takes getting yelled at by the coach, getting called out on by the teacher. It takes a lot of hard work. And in the Detroit Lions case, it takes watching a lot of losing games to get to that elusive win. But we still do it. It's still worth it. But why is it worth it? It's because we have other people doing it with us. We have our teammates helping us to get better, applauding us when we do well, pushing us to do more, helping us up when we want to quit. The same is true with our faith. If committing to going deeper with God is not a positive experience or seem worth it, maybe it's because you're trying to do it alone, or you don't have a team behind you, or maybe you have the wrong team. But we can't just sit back and expect a team to show up. You have to put yourself out there. You have to give 100% and be vulnerable with other people. You have to come to practice, commit to the process, maybe say something wrong, perhaps stumble through an awkward prayer, and you got to show up like something's going to happen. You remember that paralyzed guy in the Bible that was lowered through the roof by his friends in Luke 5? That happened because of the faith of his teammates. They were not only committed to their friend, but they were committed to chasing after Jesus. They gave 100% to be next to Jesus. But I know that giving 100% all the time is not only difficult, but it seems impossible at times. This is why we need each other. This is why we need this community around us. I was talking to my friend Zach about this message, and he said, before we started to really dive in and serve, Sundays used to just be this day that we just came to Epic. But now that we've gotten more involved, it's become our church. It's become more than just something we do, it's become a way that we live. Now that's what commitment looks like. It's not something you do. It's a way that you live. Zach's company that he works for has this great motto that should apply more to us than anybody else. And their motto is, all of this is all of ours. Romans 12:5 says, so in Christ we, though many, form one body, and each member belongs to all the others. Our commitment to God looks like commitment to one another. Band, you guys can come up. When you are weak, I will be strong. When I am weak, you will be strong. We are God's hands and feet, and when we are weak, He is strong. Everything from this life will pass away and turn to dust. Are you committed to things that will pass away, or are you committed to something that has eternal significance? What will you be left with when your time is up? Let's pray. Dear Lord, thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to be here today, to learn about you, to grow deeper in our relationship with you. Thank you so much for not only making it so important, but making it fun as well. Lord, soften our hearts and open our minds to what a relationship with you could look like. Help us to go deeper than what we are right now. Lord, help us as a team to have each other's back. Help us to be there for one another the way that you designed it to be. Help us to pursue you relentlessly. Help us to show up like something's going to happen, Lord. Lord, let your Spirit move through this room and touch the heart of everyone that's here. Open our eyes to see the people around us. We sometimes think that being close to you is some sort of miraculous, unseen thing that we simply feel, but Lord, being close to you means being close to one another. Help us to be willing to do that. If I'm being honest, Lord, it is hard to do. Show us how to do it, Lord. loving us just the way we are. In Jesus' name I pray.
Down on my knees.
to know you more. I want to know you more. Lord, I surrender. I surrender. I want to know you. I want to know you more. Ooh, I didn't feel like that was a God or a dad talk. I felt like that was a God talk, right? And I didn't feel scolded, or I just felt like, yes, that's what I want, right? And I have spent many years, just the commitment is hard, right? It's hard, and it takes failure after failure after failure. I think about just yesterday, like I showed up here on a Saturday, which is typically my day off, to serve somebody in the hygiene pantry. And I came out, and I waited, and I waited, and they didn't show up. I'm like, why am I doing this? Why did I get around? This was supposed to be my day off. I should be lounging at home. And I'm like, nope, that's all right. They didn't show up. That's okay. And then I get an email and a voicemail that says there's somebody that's not going to be able to stay at the hotel in town. They're going to be on the street if you don't go out and help. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm committed. I'm committed to that. And I get home from that and make sure they're taken care of. And I just sit down, and my husband and I, we get a text, and we're like, oh, the van door fell off of someone's van, and can you come help? And my husband, who really just felt like, I don't even have a weekend yet, we're like, no, we're committed. We're out. We're going. So 3 times yesterday, I got to just solidify, and I can do that because we're committed as a team, and I feel like we are committed as a team. So thank you guys for being the church, honestly. Thank you so much, and I can't wait to continue committing and getting better and better at it. Have an amazing week. You are dismissed.